Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at how to interpret JavaScript when you encounter it in an exam situation. So let's pretend that this is the exam question. It's one of the example programs we typed in the previous lesson. Okay, and in this program we've obviously got some HTML, which I'm just going to highlight in red. Okay, so this is the HTML at the top here, and it's the HTML at the bottom. And everything that I'm going to highlight in green is considered to be JavaScript. Okay, so what we have to do is interpret what is going on in these 4 lines of JavaScript code. Now you're likely to get questions that relate to variables, events, maybe a selection statement if there is one, or a loop. And you'll also get questions about validation checks. So it's really important that you have exposed yourself to examples of JavaScript for these 4 categories. So here's a simplified exam style question. So you're given the JavaScript and some HTML, there's maybe a context around it. Okay, and then what you may be asked in an exam is, and this is paper 1, is to describe the purpose of the code shown above. So let's just kind of walk through this. The code is in the body, the script's in the body, so it'll appear as soon as the web page loads. And it's going to display hello, what's your name? It's going to write it on the screen. And then there's a variable here, and it's going to prompt, so there's going to be a box that appears, and it's going to ask the person viewing the page to enter their name. It's then going to, well, once that's been entered and the OK has been pressed, it will then write to the document good to meet you, and it will add whatever name that person has typed in. And then it's the end of the script, the body finishes, there's no other information on the HTML page, and then the HTML page stops, so there's nothing else to render in the browser. So the purpose of the code is to, I suppose, display a greeting to the person viewing the page, ask them for their name, and then display it on the screen. So I just reworded it. So basically, the purpose of the code is to ask the user for their name and then display a personalized greeting on the web page. Now, the way I've structured this answer, it's quite important that you've mentioned on the web page because it's within an HTML document. Say personalized greeting rather than sort of going into detail and saying, and then it will display good to meet you plus the name that they've typed in. Personalized greeting is enough for this. And that's probably going to be good for 1 or 2 marks. For the second question here, and this is quite a common one, they ask about variables. So in this one it says the developers use a variable in the JavaScript code, state the identifiers used. And usually there's more than one, but in this case we've just got username. So we get a mark for just writing the word username. Now in class there are a number of tasks. They're going to be shared with you on paper or electronically, and your aim is to be able to describe the purpose of each of the pieces of JavaScript code and to pull out either the variable names, the events if they are occurring, if there's any programming constructs like selection or looping, and validation checks that are taking place within the code.